The more notes you know, the more songs you can play. Now, maybe this seems kind of obvious, right? If you learn a bunch of notes, you can play a bunch of songs. More importantly, though, the better you know a note, the faster you can recall it. Even if you only know a couple of notes, if you can really have them deeply memorized, you're going to be able to learn songs really quickly. Welcome back to my lesson series, Reading Music on the Guitar. Today we're going to be taking a look at 2 new notes and getting some practice in so that you can get closer to that place of deep memorization and internalization of these notes. So for lesson 2, I'm going to assume that you've seen lesson 1 already, right? So if you haven't, or if you missed it, there'll be a link somewhere where you can just go back, try to find lesson 1 and go through that first. Otherwise, you'll be pretty lost. But to recap, last time we talked about how to play an E note, and we talked about how to lay your fingers across the strings gently to rest. Just try a couple of those with me real quick. E, rest. E, rest. Good, and that should feel pretty easy if you already went through lesson 1. So let's add another note into the mix here. If we look towards the staff, if we place a note on the very top line, this is F. Notice how F and E are right next to each other. We really got to kind of memorize this difference here. E being the top space, F being the top line. And to play F on the guitar, we're going to go back to the same string that we used before, the thinnest string. And I'm going to take my left hand and pinch up here right next to the first fret. That's an F. If you're too far back here, it's going to be buzzy. If your finger's flat, it's going to be buzzy. Just pinch with the tip of your finger right up next to the fret. You get a nice clean sound. Practice a few Fs with me just to get the hang of it. Pinch and F, 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 F. Just like before, we really want to get to this place where we can play the note without looking at the strings. Practice switching. Play me an E and play me an F. Play me an E, and notice my fingers are still hovering here, just like before. Play me an F. E, F. And my thumb doesn't move that whole time. I remember last time how we talked about resting just by laying your fingers flat against the strings. That still works with F, but there's an even easier way. If you just relax your hand a little bit and loosen your grip on the pinch, you'll notice the sound stops. Pinch for F, and then relax just enough so that the string stops vibrating. Pinch and relax. Pinch and relax. Pinch and relax. All right, let's put this all together. Here's an exercise that's just going to use E, F, and rest. Give it a try. E, F, E, and rest. F, rest, and let's do that again. E, F, E, rest, F, rest. All right, let's get another new note. Back to the staff here. Here's the E and here's the F that we learned so far. If we stick one more note above, this is a G. This is easy to remember. You know, I think we all know our alphabet. E, F, G. E on the top space, F on the top line, and G in this weird space, kind of just above the staff, above the top line. Now to play G, same string, but now we're going to move up to the 3rd fret. Use your 3rd finger, your ring finger, to pinch just behind the metal of the 3rd fret, like this. That's a G. Practice resting with G too. Play a G, and then just relax your pinch. Don't take your finger off, just relax. Pinch, and relax. And pinch, and relax. Well, let's do another one. Try another drill with me. Now we're going to use E, F, G, and rest. Here we go. Give it a shot. E. And F. And G. And just relax to rest. Stay there though. Pinch again and hit another G. And an F. And an E. And finally, rest. Let's do that again. Ready? Here we go. E. F. G. Rest, relax. Keep it there though. Pinch, G. F. E. And rest. Now, if you remember back to our first lesson, the absolute most important thing we talked about was setting your inner beat. Now, you can imagine the more notes that we add, the harder this gets. And I think this is why reading music actually gets really difficult for a lot of beginners. We kind of get into this mental juggling act where we're trying to multitask. We're trying to look at the notes and figure out what they are, how to play them. But at the same time, we're also focusing on keeping the beat, keeping our time. And doing both at the same time is really hard to do. So my best advice for beginners is just focus on one thing at a time. Concentrate on your inner beat. Train your eyes to look ahead and start passively processing the next note. Except that you'll make some mistakes here in the beginning, and that's okay. Don't worry too much if you hit some wrong notes now and again. We're practicing maintaining your inner beat while you process the notes. Well, let's try that. We're going to play the same exercise again, but this time, I really want you to focus on your inner beat. Imagine that drum in your chest. Try to control the pace, match it up, and don't worry too much if you make mistakes. Let's give it a try. 1, 2, 3, 4. And feel free to rewind that and try it as many times as you need. Again, we don't have to be perfect here. We're just trying to maintain our inner beat and make our best guess at each one of the notes. When you're ready, keep going. Here's another one. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Great! Now this is where you want to pause and ask yourself these 3 questions. Number 1, did you concentrate on your inner beat the whole time? Were you able to keep the time steady? Did you ever stop hearing that imaginary drum? Did you play all the right notes? And finally, was your sound good on every note? Good technique will equal good tone. So make sure that your fingers are right up next to the metal. You're pinching with your thumb so that you don't get some wimpy, buzzy notes. And if you feel that any of those weren't up to snuff, just rewind and go back. Like I said, some of you will be able to get this first try. For some others, it's going to take 10 tries, and that's totally fine. I'll say for now, though, once you get it at least to about 85%, we're probably ready to move forward and try the next one. Well, here we go. Last one. This one's going to be a little bit harder, so just do your best to concentrate on your inner beat. Try to keep your eyes moving forward, and don't stress too much if you make a mistake. You can always try it again. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Great job! We made it to the end. You might be wondering, where do I go from here? To me, that really depends on how that last exercise felt to you. If it felt really easy, like if your timing was perfect, you kept your internal beat the whole time, if all your notes sounded exactly right, sure, go straight on to lesson 3. On the other hand, if it felt really hard to maintain your internal pulse, if some of the notes didn't sound quite right, just rewind and try it again. Like I said before, up to 10 tries is totally reasonable. Better yet, take a break, come back later today, or even tomorrow. Go through the whole lesson again. Consistency is key here. We want to get into the habit of coming back every day and spending even just 10 minutes on this stuff. You'll be amazed at how fast you pick it up. Now, thanks so much for spending your time here with me today. Hit the like button if you're having fun practicing, subscribe so you don't miss the next lesson, and please feel free to leave me a comment if you have any questions about this stuff. All right, have fun. I'll see you next time.